There's been a global project on reducing inequality and identifying policies needed for reducing inequality. And from ESCAP Asia Pacific side, we benefited a lot from the project by having the chance and opportunity to develop our methodology around inequality of opportunities. So we have created a full series of publications here, and we have also developed policy guides on social protection and how to implement that. We have 4 different ones of these. So it's been very helpful for us, and also to learn from each other in the region.
This is something really new and exciting, that the different regional commissions of the United Nations get together to work explicitly on the issue of equality, both on the measurement side and also on the policy side. Latin America and the Caribbean is the most unequal region in the world in terms of income, but also is characterized by inequalities related to gender, age, territory, even race and ethnicity. So we placed equality at the center of our research and policy agenda since a long time, and especially 2010 when we published a report called Time for Equality. Throughout the project, basically we could do 2 things. One was to work more in depth in a few countries. For instance, we did training for government staff in Haiti. We did a lot of work with the government of Uruguay, fostering national dialogues on the issue of equality, and also training on data for Argentina and Uruguay.
This project has given member states in the Arab region, particularly Sudan and Tunisia, where it was implemented, the ability to really concentrate and focus on understanding, measuring and unpacking the concept of equality, and also developing policies to combat this problem and this issue. And this also came at a very opportune moment when the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly Goal 16 on inequality, was adopted by member states, and they needed a platform really to help renew their commitments to work on inequality. And this project came at that perfect moment. In addition to the fact that a country like Tunisia is undergoing a political transition after the popular uprisings, and they were undergoing a real overhaul of their development policy. So again, this project offered them a great way to adopt new measures and new ways to unpack and to fight the issue of inequality.
We wanted to share the results of that project with our partners, with a group of experts, with our regional commissions, to get a perspective which is more than just Africa.
First of all, let me congratulate ECA for this very interesting conference. We learned a lot. We discussed poverty and inequality and the informality in particular than in the African region.
I learned so much yesterday and this morning that I'm very happy to be here. And I also think it's good for African countries to talk to one another, because a lot of the issues maybe have to do with lack of communication. So the more we talk, the more we organize the policy learning, the better it is for everybody.
So we are speaking to the lived realities of an African. The key challenges that Africa is experiencing in terms of high levels of inequality, low levels of productive or decent jobs, and still high levels, unacceptably high levels of poverty.
I particularly welcome that African governments have sent delegates, and they all express a great interest in reducing poverty. And what I figured is now there's a big interest in reducing multidimensional poverty, as mentioned in the SDGs 1.2.
It was an excellent opportunity to share lessons also from my region, Latin America and the Caribbean, from the Arab world, from East Asia and the Pacific. So we all learned a great deal. We all had similar problems.
There's a lot of consensus here of what needs to be done, what Africa needs in order to develop. And one of the big challenges that is being faced is really about implementation and the political will to take the agenda forward.
Bringing together different stakeholders from academia, from nonprofit organizations, think tanks, to policymakers and individuals in the UN agency as well, allows for this cross-sector collaboration for discussion around what are the best and most effective ways in which to both reduce inequalities, but also at the same time contribute to the goal of poverty eradication.
It's been quite a learning experience for me coming from South Asia, recognizing both the similarities but also the variations and the problems across Africa. And I personally think the meeting is very useful in moving, as I said, from recognition of the problem, analysis of issues, status, towards data measurement issues, and then finally towards strategies and possible solutions.
For the first time, I am at least seeing very serious discussion on nature of job creations, social protection in informal economy in the context of Africa.
It was interesting to exchange notes on how we face challenges and what we do about them in implementing development policies, and also to see the great work that ECA has been doing. The Economic Commission for Africa is, I think, at least 4 times the size of ESCWA. So this was a great also way to understand best practices, to get lessons learned, and to really also showcase what we have been doing in the Arab region in an African context. It was interesting to exchange notes on how we face challenges and what we do about them in implementing development policies, and also to see the great work that ECA has been doing. The Economic Commission for Africa is, I think, at least 4 times the size of ESCWA. So this was a great also way to understand best practices, to get lessons learned, and to really also showcase what we have been doing in the Arab region in an African context. But mostly for us is to take away the major lessons learned by African countries on how to combat inequalities and how to work on issues of social justice and economic development.
We were very fortunate to have an economist of world caliber with us yesterday, Professor Haroon Bhorat, and since he had agreed to attend, we wanted to maximize his presence in Addis and ECA, and so we organized a public lecture by him on the theme of poverty and inequality and on unemployment in Africa. And I think that was a very scintillating lecture, which was a public lecture, so it was not just limited to the participants of this EGM. So many more people attended that lecture and benefited from listening to him.